I read that piece that you're referring to about officiating last week on ESPN.com. It's a great piece. I suggest everybody go read it. And in conjunction with a piece that just got posted in the last 24 hours from your colleagues Zach Lowe and Rachel Nichols about the Rockets having put together a memo they never forwarded to the league, but they did express and communicate the contents of the memo to the league, looking at Game 7 last year between the Rockets and the Warriors that Foster did referee, saying that there were 81 potential missed calls and non-calls in Game 7 that cost him at least 18 points on average. And the memo, according to this article, essentially accused the referees of throwing it. So when you talk about how bad it is getting, this seems like it's now reached the DEFCON level that the commissioner has to step in. What can be done to tamp down the argument
you're
here?
Too smart for this. You know, the average fan who doesn't do this for a living, I understand why they would fall for it. You're too smart for this. This is a smokescreen. The Rockets missed 27 consecutive three-pointers in Game 7. James Harden shot 24% in the series on three-pointers. There was another game he had in that series where he went 0 of 11 from three-point range.
No,
they lost that series for a bunch of different reasons.
No, I know that. I'm not saying that their argument has merit at all. What I'm saying is they're making it, and they're coming up with. I mean, Daryl Morey's putting his Sloan MIT to work right here.
That's right.
And putting it in the face of the NBA, and I'm sure he might not be the only team to do that. What I'm saying is it is ratcheting up. Your point is that is dead solid on here. That there's a boiling pot. There's a lid on top of it. What does the commissioner do? Does he start fining teams for even twitching in that direction? Or what can be done here to turn down the temperature so Scott Foster's not trending, and we're talking about a huge Game 2 tonight with a different filter?
Well, they're passing out fines left and right. There's been massive fines handed out in this postseason already. There's not a lot of leadership being shown. In my opinion, by the people who should be showing the leadership. Steve Kerr, for example. Steve Kerr is one of the most socially conscious and progressive thinkers in all of American sport. His voice is super duper important, but he has led the Warriors. The Warriors, to me, are the most egregious team in the league right now about the way they treat officials. Kevin Durant and Draymond Green have been out of control at times this year. One of the few ways again, this is the Rockets being smart. I mean, I'm not mad at the Rockets for trying to do this because they're just playing the game. I'm just trying to get people's eyes to open. It's almost impossible to beat the Warriors 4 out of 7, okay? Because they're just too damn good if they're healthy. Now, if Steph Curry sprains his ankle and misses 3 games, that's a different story. One of the few places where the Warriors are vulnerable is the way they handle officials. They lose their mind. They get ejected from games. They rack up technicals. They rack up flagrants. They get suspensions for their things. So one of the ways that you can get to the Warriors is to apply pressure to the officials and get them thinking more about the officials than they are about the opponent. And Steve Kerr, in my opinion, as good as he has done in everything else, as the leader of the Golden State Warriors, has not done a good job in setting an example not to let the officiating bother them. The Warriors allow the officiating to bother them, and I don't think Steve Kerr has done a good job to stop it. And I also think that part of the thing that's happened in the NBA since Adam Silver took over, it's been a much more player-friendly administration. Things that got you suspended during David Stern's era with the officials now get you fined. Things that you got fined for during David Stern now get you nothing. It's been a long time coming. And again, we're heading towards a boiling point. Like I said, just in the last 2 weeks, we have DeMar DeRozan throwing a ball at an official. By the way, you know what official he threw the ball at, Rich?
Is it Scott Foster?
He threw the ball at Scott Foster. So are the Spurs?
Oh, my word.
Are the Spurs being penalized to have Scott Foster do that game? Okay. Then we had Sean Marks, again, a very high character person who has stocked the entire Brooklyn Nets team with high character people. It's one of the reasons why they've made such a good turnaround. It's one of the most admirable teams in the league. Sean Marks going into the officials' locker room to complain after a game like a 7th grade parent chasing a ref to a locker room. That's not high character. That's not good leadership. And we've got Chris Paul, the president of the Players Association, one of the guys who's supposed to lead the players bumping an official. If David Stern was the commissioner, he might have suspended Chris Paul.
So
what?
what?
He got fined $35,000.
So there's no fix.
That is not good leadership.
So
that is not good leadership by these influential people.
So there's no fix. Is that what you're saying? That it's just it's out of control and there's no way to fix it? I mean, if fines don't work,
it can't be fixed in one day. We've been heading in this direction. But my concern for the league is that we're going to have a blow up here, and I think and then this series is particularly ripe for it, Rich. Again, because the way the Rockets play specifically is aimed at applying pressure to the officials. When they come into every single game, their game plan is 3-pointers, layups, and getting to the foul line. The way James Harden plays the game is designed to apply pressure to the officials and take advantage of vagueness in rules to get to the foul line. So any Rockets game is going to be somewhat difficult for an official. And that's the other thing. No matter what the Rockets want to say, every time they play a game, whether it's in the preseason or whether it's in the finals, they bring a certain baggage to the game. When the officials go over their pregame plan, this is one thing people don't really realize. There's 3 teams on every NBA court, and a half hour before the game, one team's going over its game plan, the other team's going over its game plan, and the referees are in their locker room going over the game themselves. And one of the things that they say is, "Hey, let's be aware that Harden likes to flop on 3-point shooting." And so they are predisposed to keep an eye on Harden and not let him get away with it, especially at the highest level with veteran officials. That was one of the other things that this audit bogus thing that the Rockets are using to try to influence future calls did. They said that the veteran officials, when they studied it, were more likely to make incorrect calls against the Rockets, as if the veteran officials are somehow flawed. What really happens there is that veteran officials know the Rockets' schemes and game plans and trickeration, and they come into the game not letting them get away with it as much.
You're the man, Brian.
It's not to say that they don't miss calls, Rich, but this is a multi-layered thing that the Rockets are trying to say, look at the surface, but it's actually much deeper.
For more of The Rich Eisen Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV for free on BR Live or download the Rich Eisen Show app.